Your button?
Yeah, I'm missing a fucking button. I was hoping the whole episode, like a little belly didn't pop out. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Lion's Den. On this episode, we have Drew Lynch.
Drew Lynch, funny guy, good buddy of Will and I have known Drew for a while. You just kind of got to know him today.
This is the first time I've actually sat down and talked to the guy, man. He was great.
Great story. His story is really cool with his the accident that he had and how it got him into comedy, and you'll see all that. And we had some fun.
We had great laughs with him. He definitely pokes fun of the room, which I don't blame him. It's a little.
I feel like that's kind of becoming a theme.
It's becoming a theme. A little bit of a theme.
You know what? They're all jealous.
I'm missing a button, so if you're watching this on YouTube,
you might. Hey,
please
you might get some skin.
And if you get some skin, and I swear to living fuck, if you Photoshop that and just zoom in and make a GIF out of it, I will. I mean, I won't do anything, but I'll be upset.
I'll be so happy if you do that. So yeah, if he's encouraging you not to. If you do,
I shouldn't have brought it up.
We'll for sure do that. Let's have everyone Photoshop whatever we can with the missing button.
Will, please. Nobody with the button. Photoshop in a button. How about that? How about we help people instead of hurting people in this world? I'm working on my interviewing skills in this one.
You did good.
Took some slips, though.
Some Dateline shit.
Yeah,
great.
I was trying. We're still learning. We're still going.
Yeah.
We had great talks about comedy, about the beginnings for all three of us, and where Will is right now as well. He was involved in that. We just had like a really great chat, so I don't know what else to say.
I was honestly shocked that he's only been doing stand-up for 8 years.
Yeah, and he's as sharp as he is.
If you haven't seen his stand-up, he's so sharp. He's so funny.
Such a good writer.
Amazing writer, and he's quick. He just gets comedy.
Yeah, he was a great, fun guy that hopefully we have back soon.
Bit of a stutter. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Oh boy.
Did you guys notice that?
Yes. And you make sure to tell him about it.
Start a little
for
bit.
sure.
You made sure he knew.
Yeah. Either way, so this episode is Drew Lynch on the Lion's Den. Enjoy.
Enjoy.
All
right, I'll let you have it in a minute.
No, 3. No. Enjoy. Come on.
Okay, you're gonna
Last time.
count
Ready?
me.
All right, action.
Will,
Sorry.
please, what are we
Sorry.
talking about?
When did you become in charge?
I mean, I swear to life and hell, I'll throw you into hell and life.
And the pool.
I don't know.
And the pool.
Yeah,
We're
that
going
sounds like
right
a
in the
pool.
pool. Everything's in the pool. This keeps up. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Beautiful.
Oh, man, people turned it off before it started. Shit.
We are friends, digging each other, taking time to talk it over.
Did you start? Is that what that means with the clap?
Yeah, because I got to sync up the sound and shit.
Oh, I know. I get it.
Sorry, I got
I
really
don't
mad.
just think you're just some lunatic who claps in front of the camera. I would have brought that up right away. I'd be like, "You all right, man?" Yep. And like, whoa, he's got a tick. We just have to let that go.
Here we go. Hey, we got Drew Lynch.
Drew Lynch, man.
Hi guys.
Welcome to the
Killing it.
Lion's Den.
Thank you.
Lion's
Yeah,
Den.
there's so many. Brent,
So
you
good.
were saying?
Oh yeah, we were talking prior to this. Drew was saying, "You have like a little too many lions in here." The thing is,
He said one is too many.
Yeah, one is too. I'll say this. What I was gonna say is, I didn't get the lions for the podcast. I had the lions in here prior to the podcast, and I have more coming before we decided to call it the Lion's Den, which is even literally crazier.
Right.
I just I have a panda room too.
Yeah, got a panda room.
Nothing's in there.
Everything's for it's just one panda that honestly
No,
took
no
over
pandas.
the room.
He just
took
calls
over
it the
room.
panda room
Yeah. Well, I bought a panda. He grew fast.
and ran away. He does want to get there's those panda dogs.
Yeah.
Is it Japan?
I believe it's Japan.
They're these chows that they
genetically
they're
modified,
to look like pandas. The coloring and everything. And Brent wants to.
Yeah, it's a real
Brent's
issue over there.
He's literally trying to get one. He's already researching.
Wait,
it.
like actively.
Yeah, I've been trying, but it's a pricey adventure, and it's like I love doing silly things for just life, and part of the fun is the financial.
Why
of
grow
it.
up? Why
Yeah,
grow up?
I think it just would be hilarious to spend way too much, like to have my account be like, Brent, what is this $50,000 charge?
And-
I got a panda dog.
Yeah.
I gotta
And
go
that's-
in the pool.
And with company, especially when
Yeah.
company comes over, don't even like acknowledge. That's
And
panda.
I wanted the name.
He wants to name him Panda.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
want to name
say.
him Panda. So I could just be like, Panda! And then everybody goes, what the? Is that a panda? And then I
Panda
just,
comes running into the room. What's up, Dad?
Panda! It's just a fun name to yell. Oh, man, this is why I'm single.
Yep.
I don't regret it, though. I'm in the silly business. I like to be silly.
We're silly.
So the lions. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Still, because I'm still on it. So it's to make it like a lion's den, or you like lions. Or
When I
it's
moved in here and this was all wood, I was like, first thought was like, okay, it's like a ski den. This has like a lodge feel.
Yeah, I get that.
And I thought, man, I saw that lion. I just love majestic lions. Lions always look like they're bragging about their hair, and I love good people with good hair. You know, that's why I'm wearing a hat. I have a lot of hair envy in my life.
Yeah.
So I just thought that this is the perfect room to put lions in. This is a majestic room.
And that's why we call it's literally just his den, and it has lions in it.
So
that's
it's the
why it's
lion's
called
den.
the Lion's Den.
So when people come over, I go, we can go to the panda room if you want, which is
to
the
the
dining
Lions-
room,
yeah.
or you want to go to the lion's den and hang out. And everybody's like, lions, dude, this guy has a shit ton of animals in this.
Yeah, you got your vibe is much richer than it is, maybe.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
exactly what it is.
I'm speculating. I don't
That's true. Like just bleeding money. Just these for
Very-
$10.
Your wants are so lavish. You're visionary, but
Right.
you
It's like
Or also wants people to think he's rich, but doesn't really understand how it works. Rich guys have lions, right?
oh my god! Imagine if I was rich, the amount of lions I'd have then.
it's the most eclectic
Hilarious.
list.
I love it. Love it.
Oh yeah. All right. So you
Yeah.
guys know each other.
Yeah.
This is kind
Yeah.
of my first time meeting you.
Yeah.
I'm aware
Will
of
and I
you.
both talked about you coming on because I think you're hilarious, and we've been doing some shows at the same time
Yeah.
lately, and you literally consistently just crush.
Oh, thanks, man.
I mean, hilarious. You're one of my favorite writers, and
Thanks,
like,
man.
and you do have the story with the stutter. But what I love about what you do is you address it, but it's not just about that.
Yeah.
It's not like that's your whole act, you're so funny that you tend to forget about the stutter, which is great for me. But then you kind of come back into it when you need to, and it's just you got to see his set. It's hilarious stuff.
Yeah.
And you did America's Got Talent, which was made me cry. Made me cry.
Sorry, man.
Well,
Yeah, don't do that.
For people that
Sorry,
don't
man.
know,
Sorry,
what happened to you? Like,
So many
hey
things.
man, we're getting used
East
to
Coast shit.
I know.
So what?
What the hell happened?
Hey, Drew, what's wrong with you?
What is it?
Jason was so cute about it.
I know. We're 60 minutes like I'm new. It's like
my
you're gonna
God.
interview this guy. All right.
I was
so
being
what
so
happened,
sweet.
man?
You rephrase it differently in the panda room. It's guide us through your experience.
Yeah.
And on the Lion's Den, what is it?
Yeah.
What happened?
What's wrong?
Speak, lions. Relax.
Relax, lion.
But seriously, for people that don't know, you have a very interesting story. I mean, everybody talks about it to me, but I mean,
Sure, yeah. I
share
bet,
with the people, I guess.
Yeah, I did. Oh, Will.
You see?
Yeah. Dude, man, yeah.
Will, our producer, is just checking cameras, which is, good. It's his job. But thanks. Right at this moment.
I know, sorry.
We're new. We're new.
Just
We're new.
leans
I tried
in.
to warn you before.
So yeah, I did. I never. I guess when I moved out here, I didn't want to do stand up. That was always something like I was like super appreciative of what other people, seeing other people do it. I grew up watching some stand ups, and I was like, oh, that's great. But I was originally out here for just acting and stuff. So my first year into being here in LA, I had a softball injury because I was playing on a softball team over at Flappers, which was a job that I used to work there, so I could have my days free for auditions and stuff. And I had a bad hop from a grounder that I just fielded poorly, and then I hit my head on the ground, and I had a minor vocal contusion with a concussion as well. And in going to sleep on the concussion the next day and the subsequent weeks, I had lost a lot of control over my motor skills and my a lot of function. Like my speech was the most prominent thing that was noticeably different.
So is that because you
And-
didn't know that you had a concussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause- Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I had no idea. So excuse me. So not for it I don't want it to sound sappy, but it's just a thing that at that time I had a lot of momentum going in for jobs like I did some Disney stuff and stuff for Mad Men and other things like that. And at that time I thought I was getting a lot of good momentum that way. But then when that happened, I was out of commission, and I guess my agents and all that stuff at the time were like, well, we don't really know how to represent you, and we don't want to send you into the room in this kind of condition, which they didn't really say it that way, but it was basically that. And then so that was kind of what forced me to just go on stage and start to talk about it. So I guess I do appreciate you saying, Jason, that it's something that's there, and I think it's worth addressing. But I never wanted it to ever be like I was doting on it for the sake of pity or for the sake of pulling out laughs that aren't earned.
And that doesn't even it doesn't feel like that at all. Because you're hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. So yeah, so that was kind of the trajectory of it, and then just sticking with stand up. In the earlier stages.
By the way, his album is called So Funny.
Really?
No.
We don't have enough cover on the.
I love that you said really.
It goes to the back. Yeah.
No, that's kind of funny.
So yeah, and it just kind of just stuck with it. I guess just like the earlier, my earlier in doing it, however many years ago, like it was like a thing that I was like, I realized I could get laughs by being self-deprecating, and then I wanted to kind of, I did America's Got Talent, and they told my story, which that show does a great job at packaging stand-ups with a story as well. Yeah. And then after that, I wanted to do like more late night stuff and stuff that had that's a bit in with like the cooler kids with comics. I don't ever want it to be like, I'm just a. There's I don't want to be like a show pony comic or one that has no meat to substantiate myself.
Yeah.
I ran into Jeff Keith was on your episode.
Jeff Keith?
Jeff Keith is a comic.
Yeah, I know Jeff, but I
ran
don't
into
think
him.
Is he still handsome as hell?
He did America's Got Talent, and like he said he might have been on the same. I don't know how it works, but like same group or whatever. But yeah, I ran into him at the gym this morning, and I told him that we were podding, and he said to say hi.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love Jeff. Yeah, he was also like.
I go to the gym, by the way.
I know.
Whatever. I think that was mostly.
Is that all you want? You wanted to get that out, didn't you?
Dude,
I just said, is he still handsome?
I didn't
as hell?
know that
That's
he went to
my
my gym, and I was going to do bench, and I just had nothing but the bar, just kind of like a warm up, and I lay down, and this guy walks up, he goes, "Bro, you need a spot for that?" It's just the bar, and I was about to get annoyed, and I look up and it's Jeff Keith.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, well, and luckily Jeff Keith is a person, because Jeff Keith sounds like a name that you made.
Right up.
Story.
Hey,
sounds like something I would make up for sure.
Two
trying to get
names.
into a bar at underage. What's your name, Jeff? What, Keith? What is? How old are you? Oh man, I'm 7.
Jeff. Yeah.
I've aged. That'd be
that's
it.
great.
That's great.
So you started stand up after this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought you had started stand up before, and then it happened, and then
I had been on stage like once or twice beforehand, but just doing like the mic over there, and
at
not
Flappers?
really, and not really. I just didn't really know what I was doing. Stand up is one of those things that when you see it done well, it's like it looks easy, and when you see it done not well, you still think you can do it.
Right.
So it's
we have that conversation all the time.
Yeah.
So many people think they can do it, and guess what? You can't.
Yeah, man. I still can't, and there's people who. There's people who, you've seen like the confident bros after shows where just, they sometimes want to snub you a bit because I think it's something that looks easy from afar.
And those are the guys that always tell you they crushed.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I've never said that in my.
They tell you. You know how I know you crushed? Because you keep telling me. I didn't see it. I don't think anybody else saw it, but it happened.
Bro, I don't. Well, yeah, when I was telling Will, when I was first working with Will,
he told you he crushed, right?
Yeah, Will.
The whole time. I would shut the fuck up about it.
He says it on stage. I'm crushing.
I opened the door backstage. Guys, you hear me crushing?
I actually met Will at Flappers.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I was like, this guy's doing Drew Lynch's material, and then I confronted him.
Like, why is he stuttering?
Did you go to work at Flappers when you weren't a comic?
Yeah. I was just.
What do you do at a comedy club? Like, what was your?
I mean, it was just like having the days free to audition and stuff. Like it's a perfect night job, and it's just like stand up is still a bit in the periphery of acting, I think, or So I mean, and Brent. I mean, you did Undateable too, which is awesome, and you got to do. I remember seeing all you guys on the show and feeling like that's got to feel so good to be able to be acting and doing stand up because you guys had specials coming out at that time, and Ron as well. I mean, you guys are just strong actors as well as stand ups. Yeah,
it's great. Stand up really helps. I always tell actors who, even if you're not gonna do stand up, don't call yourself a stand up because you did an open mic, but it is a really good, like I found a very good thing to do to help you as an actor, just to get yourself embarrassed as shit.
Yeah.
To have like the fear of stand-up is wildly harder than you'll find in an audition room. You're like, as nervous as I am here, it's not as bad as how I bombed at like the haha or the improv the other day.
Right.
Like that hurt way worse than this
Yeah.
feels. So I could be at least a little better of an actor. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
That injury happens and then your agents are dropping you, and then you said then you gave stand-up a shot just because you wanted to talk about it, you said. So
Yeah,
was that out of just pure depression, you need to just say something?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I think that like for some people to what resonates with them, or what at least they'll say to me is like, oh, like you were so brave to pursue this thing, or it was great that this didn't stop you, or it was your obstacle, anything along those lines. And I just felt like I think it was just such an easy decision to make at that point. You either
Yeah.
become complacent in it.
Right.
Or you I guess fight against it, but that's still even dramatized to the way I felt at that time. I was just dying for I couldn't just roll over and feel like that was just the end of it,
Yeah.
And that's I know, again, I don't want that to sound like more dramatic than it is. It was such an easy decision to say, all right, well, I'll still give this a shot, or I'll give this a try.
Yeah, because it's entertainment. You
Yeah.
want to be an entertainer. There's something in all of us that's like, it's a little it's lunacy.
Yeah.
But something in us says we have to do this particular thing, this make-believe, this creativity, this point of just something in you says, I got to do this thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think I would totally see, especially working at Flappers, getting dropped by agents, having this thing, and you were working. That's
Yeah.
even more depressing because it's such a dream. And
Yeah.
especially I went to film school. One of the things you could hold on to is a dream. Dreaming about it is easy.
Yeah.
That's an easy feeling because you don't have to make it a reality to keep you through the day. When you
Right.
start trying to make it a reality and then it starts to become a reality and you realize that dream in your head is not the reality, but you're working, you're in that door, you start going, oh my God, could this happen? Is it going to happen? And then you think about yourself as a kid and, wow, I remember watching something. Now I'm on something. And then to have such a setback and then people push you back out.
Yeah.
I think it's wildly more depressing than not even getting in that door.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just there's something to comics that I only learned after the fact, which is it's just got like a set of like misfits is what it feels
Yeah.
like. Everybody's got, for whatever reason their rosebud is for why they're here. It becomes apparent maybe only later, I think.
Right.
Some comics I have friends who are just happy-go-lucky and they just love it and they're just doing it because they love that, and I couldn't envy that more. For me, I'm constantly on stage to just validate my whole existence. And that I feel like so many other comics are the same way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, totally. I mean, I've talked about this on other podcasts, but like people always ask me, you say you moved out here, you weren't even thinking about stand-up, you were thinking about acting. That's the same with me. I wanted to be an actor and filmmaker. I only did stand-up because people that I started researching in film school had done stand-up. And I was too insecure to be just a headshot on somebody's desk because I'm like, I don't look like Brad Pitt. So I'm thinking that shit's done. And then I couldn't just be a blank script on a desk. So I was like, I'm just going to go give it a shot, Laugh Factory, open mic, bombing. Part of me is the competitive thing.
Right.
I couldn't go out that way. I always thought I'd do it a few times and tell my grandkids I tried it.
Yeah.
But then I was like, no, you got to get a laugh. You got to do something. Like, I at least got to get a laugh. And then I became addicted to it. But, it's the same thing. I envy the people that are just like, do you believe we're in a Holiday Inn on the road right now? And I'm like,
Dude, that's me. That's me, by the way.
yeah, that's Will, right? Which is, I envy.
This is awesome.
Yeah, when I'm
And
with
he's
you guys,
sleeping
I'm
in
like,
the closet.
Which it really is, though, because when you're doing the steps, too, you're the first step you have is like, man, I'd love to get $15 for this.
Yeah.
Second step is like, God, if I could just get like $200 a week.
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening is like, you start going, what did he get? What was his guarantee? That's
Right.
You start getting a little bit, and you got to check
Yeah.
yourself.
The
for
number
sure,
that
but-
sticks out in my head to this day is $60. I remember when I got $60 to do comedy, and I didn't know I was getting paid. That was
Oh, that's great.
and they put it in my hand, and I went, what? Oh, this is $60.
Yeah.
I ate
Yeah.
dinner that night,
yeah, that's it's great.
What was that for? Was it for
That was last week. No, it was some bar show.
Was it like
somewhere.
featuring, headlining? Was it?
I don't remember. I just remember there was like 5 of us on the show, and this guy was just, and he had an audience and everything. And I think it was somewhere like in the Inland Empire, somewhere like
Oh, yeah.
way out there. I remember.
Always paid out there.
I know they pay in the.
It was in the
shittiest-
past.
Yeah, it was in the past.
Because
Because I haven't gotten $60 for comedy. No.
You're quite good, little boy. Here you
Yeah.
go.
it's just people here know what the Inland Empire is, but to the
Oh
listeners,
yeah, Inland
it sounds-
Empire is far.
Yeah.
To the listeners,
That's
it's the desert.
that's next to Brent's
Yeah, yeah.
panda room.
Yeah, yeah.
The Inland Empire.
Yeah, it does sound magical. It sounds like it was somewhere in the Inland Empire. I'm never getting paid.
I was like, you only got $60 from the Inland
And
Empire.
then, yeah. What if
Here's your
that.
60 quokets.
They didn't pay
Yeah,
you
yeah.
shillings.
shillings?
Shillings.
Fuck. But yeah, that's the number that stands out in my head. I'm like, that's when I thought I'm a professional. You know.
$60. I still don't expect to get paid around town. If it
Ever.
ever
Yeah.
happens, it's a nice little surprise.
Right.
It's if I'll drive to literally wherever. I'll do shows in San Diego or whatever, and if it happens, cool. But I don't ever set my.
Will
my
lives in
mind to
San
it.
Diego.
I knew you were gonna say
Will
that.
Burkart lives in San Diego now. He
Hey,
does so many gigs. I'll call him. I say, hey, what is he? Go, all right, I got a gig in San Diego. I say, just fucking move to San Diego. Just move there.
Every time I say I'm there, you say, "Oh, hometown show, huh?"
Hometown show. Yeah.
Todd show. Man, I just remember having to go anywhere you can just to get
Oh
on
my
stage.
Yeah. Why do you think I go? You can do like
Yeah.
5
I'll never
spots a
forget.
night there.
Dalia and I did a gig in. Have you ever heard of Colton, California?
No,
Colton,
that sounds
California.
like every
No.
kid that. Yeah.
It was.
like- that's every
it was.
white kid.
It was like the stage had a screen, like a chicken wire screen around it, so for people
Jeez.
in case people
God.
threw shit at you.
UFC.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And a guy at the bar said, "Let's take it outside." To me, it was like Chris was like, "Let's get the fuck out of here."
And of course, you were like, all
No, no,
right.
no. No, I got an invitation from this
Chris was
guy.
like, "Let's go." He's like,
I said,
"Fuck it."
"Yeah." I said, "Chris, before we leave, I got to
Yeah.
take this guy up on his invitation and take it outside."
That is probably the most badass shit to say, too. Before we leave, I got to take this guy up on his invitation. Like, treating it so proper.
Yeah. Sir, I'll be outside.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And
also
then I
think,
did this with my hands right before. Okay, let's do it.
That would scare the shit out of me.
I also think like when you first are starting out, so many places are paying you with like drinks or like you can
Yeah.
you have free drinks. So like I don't drink now, but earlier like it's not even like I wanted to drink, but it was just like, well, I'm gonna drink for what I felt I was worth.
Right. And I love
So-
when they give you the drink tickets, like they're hooking you
Yeah.
up. There you
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
kid. Put 2 of those in your pocket.
You didn't
Cool.
get more than 2, did you? Did you get more than 2? No, sir, I didn't get more than 2.
How many times have you been doing laundry and you found drink tickets in your pocket
Yeah.
that you didn't
So
use,
many.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, man. But this is an hour and 45 minutes away, so you can't just give me drink tickets while I'm driving home.
There you go. There you go. Enjoy that 2-hour
Yeah.
drive home.
Yeah,
So terrifying.
yeah, or gigs where you drive far to and Ben bomb at. It's a long,
Yeah.
it's a long drive.
That
home.
long
I
silent
call it.
drive
I
home.
call it the quiet ride. That's
Yeah.
what I want to name my production company, the Quiet Ride, because all you could hear, me and Dion calling this when I was working as a PA at Conan. You could just see it on my face, and he'd be like, "Quiet ride." I go,
Oh, man.
"Quiet ride."
That's
last night."
hilarious.
And I said, all you could hear is you breathing. There's no radio on.
Oh,
the
no, not
hum
me.
of the street light before it turns green. You could hear every sound, and then when you turn, and then just one.
Mine is
I
this.
should
Here's
just
my
give
drive
up.
home though. I'm driving home. It's raining. Single tear in my eye, and this song is playing. I did my best, but I guess my best wasn't good. And
Oh man,
Jeez.
hey man, you can't appreciate a win without a loss.
Yeah, I mean when you go with the crew as well, like when you go with
That's
friends.
better.
Well, I mean it can be unless
Yeah.
you are the one who didn't have a good
Right.
good
Yeah.
set, and I've
And
been that. Yeah.
our crew, we'd be the first to point it out too.
That was always me. I would be rolling
Yep.
around with Chris D'Elia and Jason Collins,
Oh.
my first 2 friends in comedy when I'm in film school. So it was just the 3 of us starting out doing open mics, which
Chris
was a
and I in the
blessing.
front seat. We're going. That was a great room, huh, Chris? Yeah, it was, huh, Jason?
Yeah.
Brent, how'd you feel about the room?
Hey Brent, what the fuck were you saying tonight? Remember when you bombed earlier? Remember how bad that was? I was just like, you know, I'm still in college and everything hurts more.
Yeah, or to explain, like to try to, I would, yeah, or so early on try to justify what happened for my set. It was like, well, but one of the guys got up and left for he left for mine. You guys did good, but that guy left, which threw it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have had to go to bed. He shouldn't have had to pee.
Yeah.
What's wrong with him?
Yeah.
Oh man, when you guys would leave the room, like when you're with the friends and you're on stage, it happened to me all the time when I was younger, and they're all the guys I was with were in the room for each other, and then I would go up, and then they're just laughing, walking out of the
Yeah,
fucking showroom. I'm going, they're not even gonna watch my goddamn set. That's all I'm thinking about.
I'm gonna confession. We used to do it on purpose. I would look over at Chris and I'd go, "All right, let's walk out. Let's walk out."
Laughing too, as if what they're doing is the best time.
So much better.
Oh man, it threw me off so much.
And didn't you, Jason? Didn't you guys light him with that police?
He
Oh,
did.
I had
Flashlight?
this like tactical flashlight. I used to run a room in Long Beach. Remember Gas Lamp in Long Beach?
Yeah.
I used to run that room years ago.
Wow.
And it would every week. It was me, him, Dalia, Joe Coy would come down and do it, and we would just fuck with Brent. Really.
Yeah.
And first of all, the stage was bad. It had a railing, like a balcony. By the way, I booked Brad Williams one, and he couldn't see over the railing. It was awesome.
So funny.
But when Brent would go on stage, a minute in, I'd start hitting him in the eyes with the light, and Chris would be booing, boo, and I'm
Chris
hitting
had
him.
a great
and
boo because he
was-
took voice lessons all in college, so he'd be boo, and that's all you'd hear. And then that light was a blinding light that was for like hunting.
Yeah.
And I'm just up there like trying.
Screaming.
I yelled, Jason, you're a father. Like I remember just yelling that. That's all I could get out. Was that the same night that Joe Coy showed up?
Yeah.
Where he had me in his phone as not funny Brent.
Yeah.
And then he said, maybe you can change this tonight. And I
Right.
didn't know he had me in his phone as that. I don't even speak at the diners. He's never seen me do stand-up. And he goes, but I'm going to go before you. And he did like a tight 40.
Yeah.
Destroyed.
Yeah.
And then they go, and Brent Morin. And oh, man, that was bad.
Yeah, and at that time he was just building that following.
Yeah.
So he tweeted or something that he was there, and it just a ton of people showed up.
Fans showed up
Whoa,
like crazy.
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
Gosh, that was
It might have been MySpace. I don't know. I can't.
yeah.
remember MySpace.
That was probably
That was like 23.
that's going on like 10 years ago now.
Yeah, something
What?
like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Joe Coy was. I didn't like. I guess I've only been seeing how big he's been getting in the more recent years. I didn't know that
he's been.
that was kind of
Oh,
influence that he had then.
He's he started headlining in his 13th year, I think he said to me, and he's at like 25 now or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
What he's doing now. He
No,
did
it's insane.
nice stuff. I've always loved Joe. I love being fucked with because it made me feel like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like even though I'm getting ripped apart every day by them, Bobby Lee, Eric Griffin, everybody, I knew I was kind of like in.
Yeah.
I wasn't funny yet, but I was like in the little club, and
And
I
we
get
were
off
inviting.
stage-
We were
yeah.
inviting him. Like, let's fucking go. Come on.
Yeah.
you know.
He was big on inviting me everywhere. And I get off stage after bombing after him, of course.
Yeah.
And he just goes, come look at my phone. And I'm thinking, I can't deal with this right now. And he
Yeah.
goes, he had me in his phone as Funny Brent.
Nice.
So I was like,
Oh,
oh,
that's nice.
So that was a sweet moment.
Was that
for-
the
shout
same
out to
night
Joe
that you
Coy.
tried to copy Chris D'Elia's microphone?
And
Chris D'Elia did this thing where he'd knock the
Oh,
microphone down and then he would use his foot and kick it up. Like, the coolest shit.
Yeah,
it looked
Kick
cool.
it up and catch
I
it.
tried it. I tried it.
tried it.
But the adrenaline that's pumping when you're doing stand up and that stupid fucking rail that's
It was
in front
around
of
the
you.
stage, yeah.
So what I did is I went to kick it up. When your adrenaline's pumping, you're a little stronger than you think. So what happens is I kicked it. It went flying up, hit the rail, came back and hit me in the face. And everybody thought in the audience that I did it on purpose
Like it
and
was a
thought it
bit.
was brilliant. Like I'm freaking John Ritter or
He
something.
comes off stage bleeding.
And I'm like, man. And Al the comic's like, no, that's not. You did not mean to do that.
That was on
That
accident.
was my only laugh that night.
So when you were having these like bouts of like playful hazing, I guess, you never felt discouraged to the point of like, fuck, I can't do this. I can't.
No, I always say the luckiest thing that happened to me was that, like, when you start stand up, you find your little groups, like
Yeah.
you try to find anybody you can relate to. And I always assumed stand up comedians, like when I first went to the clubs, would be comedians, like funny. Like I was a class clown in high school. Like I enjoyed myself. Like it was fun. And I was thinking, well, that's what it's going to be like. And I didn't know that it wasn't. I didn't know there was all these kind of like fucking losers. Like, just in the sense where I'm like, hey, whatever,
Club.
man. And I'm like, all right, Jesus. Like, just it wasn't working. Then I hear these guys laughing in a corner. I'm like, well, those guys seem like me. And so I always say I was the luckiest is that I was going with them. I could have easily thought I was doing a good job because I wasn't like bombing, but it was like when I thought I was doing well, and then they would go up after me and really do well. It's a good thing to see, to be like, oh, I'm not there yet. So I just loved it as somebody who's hyper competitive and just really wanted to be good.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when somebody that wasn't in our group was fucking with me, they have my back right away. So, you know,
Yeah.
I come from a long line of asshole friends that mess with me, but they'll have my back. And I was like, oh, Chris has defended me a ton. He definitely defended me when I got lit at the Improv that time. He got
I got him his first spot at the Improv years ago.
Yeah, Jesus.
And they say, all right, you're doing 5 minutes.
And didn't you say it was a cold open?
Yeah,
so it was
cold
before
open.
the host.
Yeah.
The sound
Sold
guy
out show, though.
started lighting him and then played him off with music.
But not all the way, right? Wasn't it?
I think I lasted
not even
2 minutes.
It was 2 minutes in.
It's got to be a record.
Dude,
the quickest.
I don't remember who it was, but I went over there and I was about to rip him out of that booth. I was
Yeah.
like, yo, this is my guy.
Yeah.
Give him his 5 minutes kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you were furious. I was
furious.
so embarrassed because I had friends from college and I had met some girls. It's the Improv.
They
It's my
came
first
all-
time being at the
Yeah.
Improv. They all came. No time you get girls' numbers do they all show up.
Right.
They all did. Never saw them after the show. Didn't wanna. Never heard from them again. Didn't wanna.
Yeah.
To be honest, some of the friends in college, they didn't talk
Yeah.
to me anymore. I
I
mean, it
went
was bad.
off.
Wow.
I wasn't even being that bad. I was like, just give me 5. It
I
was
mean,
that bad.
the first 5 minutes.
was
I mean,
bad.
yeah, the first 5 minutes at the Improv that I had done, it was very similar. Like I don't know what, it's just intimidating. And that room when it gets quiet, it gets quiet. When you hear the crinkle of the fries on the paper on the fries.
How long have you been doing stand up?
8 years.
8 years now.
Yeah.
Right on.
So when you did when you go and do America's Got Talent, which by the way, in the beginning when you start stand up for anybody out there trying to do it, sometimes there are these competitions.
Don't.
Now
I'm
obviously
just
that's there's we'll
Don't do
torch
it.
you.
Yeah.
But there are in the beginning there'd be these competitions at comedy clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
I never ever in my life have ever gotten past the first round of any of those in the beginning of any kind of stand up I've ever done.
Yeah.
I never was gonna showcase for Last Comic Standing or America's Got Talent because I was like, I can't even win the freaking Chuckle Hut,
Right,
$50. So
When
why
I
would
found,
even
when I
try?
was asked to do the last comic stuff, and I found out how little time you get in that, I'm like, that's not my style of comedy.
How much
I'm,
time?
I'm a storyteller. I'm not even going to get into it then.
Yeah.
What was it, like
You
a
know,
3-minute thing or
yeah.
something?
Less.
And yeah,
Oh,
and,
wow.
and
Yeah.
a lot of the way your jokes are written is like it starts to get so good, when you're just
An
hitting
hour
it right
in.
there. Yeah, when you're done, it gets so much better. No, it's just like there's a more setup to where it is that you're getting, and then the punches start happening. You know what I mean?
Because
Like
well, the way I like to describe it is it's a through line. It's a story about me that I'm telling, and inside that story there are these punches along the way. But I'm not like a joke teller.
yeah.
You know, I'm more of a storyteller. And I was like, and the last thing I want to do is go on this thing and then have them have like major comics go, nah, get out of here. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, I'm not even gonna put myself
and
through
then it's
that.
on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my credit.
So you never did Last Comic.
They asked me every year. And
Wow.
I just was really stubborn about it. And then I went through this whole thing where I'm like, I don't want to do reality TV because I didn't know where it was going at the time. I didn't know anything about it. You know what I mean? I mean, I got into comedy. I literally knew nothing about it.
Yeah. Did you always want to do it when you were younger?
Yeah, I was always a huge fan of it. I was always class clown. When I was like 16, I went in for this audition that my mom's friend had gotten me. And they're like, you got to do a monologue or something. And I'm like, what is that? I didn't even know what that was, you know? Yeah. So I asked my mom, and she's like, oh, it's this. I went into this audition, and I recited a Eddie Murphy bit.
Oh,
White
nice.
kid,
Yeah.
16 years old. That's what I did in the audition. And I think the N-word might have been in there.
Well, you committed.
But yeah,
the other-
and so that comedy was always the thing that I wanted to do. I was doing music as well. My dad was a musician, and he had a hit single in 1970, and I was in that kind of world growing up, and then I got into producing hip hop when I was like 17 or 18, and then I got a record deal when I was like 19, and then then I had kids way too young, and I had to put food on the table, so I put all that aside. I wasn't sure that the music was it. I knew that I wanted to perform.
Yeah.
And then a buddy that I grew up with, we've been friends since we were like 12 years old. He had this friend through his business. He's always telling me, you got to meet my buddy. He's a stand-up comedian. You got to meet my buddy, and you got to meet him. That buddy was Joe Coy. So I've been doing stand-up for almost 14 years. I've known Joe for like 20.
Wow.
Me and Joe Coy became friends, and I would follow him around and go to his shows with him, and I was always telling him, I want to do this. I want to do this. And he's like, yeah. You know how when your non-comedian friends are like, I want to do that?
Yeah.
I was that guy to Joe Coy and Russell Peters, because I had met Russell through Joe back in the day before I did stand-up. And so I was always telling him that I wanted to do it. And then Joe met my dad right before he had passed away. And we got in the car, and he's like, "Do you really want to do stand-up?" And I go, "Yeah, I always." He goes, "No. Do you really want to do it?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, dude, stop being such a pussy and do it, or your dad may never able to get the chance to see you do it." And I never thought about it that way.
Wow.
And then that's one of the reasons I got into stand-up, because it was therapy for me. I needed a distraction because the business that I was in, I was teaching martial arts, and I had a martial arts school.
Yeah.
That was my business with my dad. So it was hard to be there.
Yeah.
So stand-up was my therapy. I would go out every night and just talk to strangers about stuff. And it was, and that was kind of how I got into comedy. I went to the Ha Ha Cafe.
Yeah.
BS'd my way onto a show. I've never done an open mic to this day.
Chris was at the Ha Ha a lot too when
I met Chris D'Elia the first night I ever did. We talked about on our with Chris not the other day. I met Chris my first day ever doing stand-up.
Wow.
Like literally my first set, walked off stage, shook hands with Chris because he was in the back of the room laughing. And if you know D'Elia, that laugh is insane.
Yeah.
And I was telling Chris the other day, I was like, I thought you were fucking with me. I thought you were fake laughing because I wasn't funny, But then we met and we shook hands. He went on stage and I started cracking up. And then that night we went out to eat together and we were like best friends ever since, kind of a thing. And that's when we met him a little later on.
Which was also at the, that's
like a couple months later, he walked up to Chris and I and met us. But yeah. And
want to fight? That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Literally less than a month after I started, like almost a month to the day actually after I started doing stand-up, my dad passed away. But I was able to videotape it and show him.
Wow.
And he was like, "This is what you're supposed to be doing. Don't quit doing this." And that's kind of how. And like I said, I never did an open mic. I lied my way onto a show, and I told Jack, the owner, that I was a stand-up for 5 years.
Wow.
And I told him that Joe Coy told me to come. I said Joe Coy and John Lovitz. That's what I said.
Oh yeah.
I said because I was with them the night before
Wow,
at Brea, just hanging out with them. I said, "Yeah, Joe Coy, John Lovitz said to come here that you would put me on a show." That's what I said, and I didn't know anything about the culture or how it worked or anything. And he's like, "Joe Coy told you that?" He goes, "Yeah." "How long are you doing comedy?" I go, 5 years. Never did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
"You're on the show tomorrow night."
Crazy.
Wow.
And literally, and it was like a weekend show, full house. I did my first set was 15 minutes, third on the lineup,
money spot.
and I got off stage, and Jack, the owner, said, "Oh, yeah, I'll come back tomorrow. You're on the show tomorrow too." And I've been doing stand up ever since.
It's crazy that you killed your first time ever doing. Like you had such a good
Yeah.
set.
It's not
the
shocking
first
with,
time.
with
Like-
him.
Nobody thought it was
So
my
talented.
first time.
Yeah.
But you have to understand what I did for a living. I spoke in front of large groups of people, and I did everything with humor.
Yeah.
Because I felt like the best way to keep the kids' attention and the adults was to make them laugh and make them comfortable. So I knew how to command a room full of people. The obstacle was like making a set. Literally the day before, I told my brother, I was like, we got to write comedy. And we sat down and tried. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to wing it. I literally said that. And I went up and just talked about my wife and my kids and having older children and being married to a Latin woman and just talked about my life and just interjected things in it, and it worked.
It's so good. I think it's cool that you like. It's your intro to stand up had such a dramatic beginning, or the stakes to it were.
It was. And it's one of those things where I didn't know it at the time, but then I realized, yeah, I'm escaping
Yeah.
my sadness right now by going and being with funny fucking people and laughing and stuff. You
Bro,
know?
I've talked to your brother so many times thinking it was you.
Yeah.
I've said good set to your brother more than any person I've ever talked to.
for the longest time, he would always go, no, that was my brother.
They're identical
He
twins.
stopped
by the
doing
way.
that.
Yeah.
He stopped doing that. He literally goes, "Oh, thanks, man." we were at the Ice House one night, and I was finished off a show, and people were coming up and asking him to take pictures, and he was doing it.
Why not?
I looked over, and he's sitting on the bench going like, taking pictures with people.
But in everyone else's defense, it's the most identical I've ever seen.
For those of you who are listening and don't know, I have an identical.
I don't
twin.
know that.
I have an
I
identical
don't know that you're
twin
Jason.
brother.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
You never know. David's a little bigger than me. He's stronger than me, and he wears his beard a little thicker.
I feel like the people who really know you can always tell.
Yeah. You can tell if you hang out with us long enough, it's pretty cool. But like, yeah, and it's crazy because same glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he'll go, "Hey, you have a show tonight?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, I'll meet you there." And he shows up wearing the same outfit. Didn't plan it.
Wow.
Like wearing the same outfit. It happened one night at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
I mean, we looked the same. And I go, "Dude, I'm going to do something on stage tonight." And it was in the OR. And I got on stage and I go, "Hey guys, sorry, I'm a little annoyed right now. My brother's here and he's giving me a hard time and he's telling me like that he thinks he's funnier than me and that he thinks that he could do what I do." And I go, basically, he thinks he could be me. No one knew I had a twin, right? I go, "Should we have him come up here and tell some jokes and see if he could be me?" And the audience was like, "Yeah." And he comes walking on stage and the place goes, "Whoa," because he literally,
Yeah.
I walked on stage, next to me. I give him the mic. He immediately starts killing.
Oh, he does?
Yes, he
Oh, I
starts
didn't know
saying
that.
shit. It was really
You
funny.
brothers.
And he's like, "That's called a callback." He was like doing stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Oh
So
man,
good. That's
It was- it
crazy.
was funny.
There's a kid who you guys know Brenton, right?
yeah, Bill
Yeah.
Clinton?
Oh, yeah, you look like him.
So many people
Oh,
think
wow.
we are the same person.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, what a
love it.
trip.
Like I was at I think I was at Comedy Magic, and it was
Great
it was,
club.
it was a few years ago, and there I can't remember who the comic was, but I was talking to someone else, and I just feel like this other comic like come into the area, and I feel like someone just staring at me, and like I'm talking, and then this I can't remember their name, but he just like interrupts me, and he goes, "Hey man, hey, stop that." He's like going like, "Stop that," and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Stop!" And he's like, he pushes me a bit against the door, but not in like an
Whoa.
aggressive way, but just like it's like a little bit like his presence is just too close in
Yeah.
his confrontation. He goes, "Stop doing like the character thing. Stop it." He was genuinely frustrated, and I never knew what he was talking about only until I hadn't even met Brenton yet.
He thought you were Brenton.
He thought I was him,
Putting on
just
this-
in character doing this.
Weird.
Doing this thing. So it's, I mean, I've had over the years just people
Wow.
That's weird.
thinking that one of us is the other one, and it's weird
He's
because
clearly way better looking. This guy.
yeah, no, and more talented, and that's what everyone has told me, and I say that's what they say. Your brother told me that, and
You know who's a twin is Rel Battle.
yeah,
He's a twin.
He's a twin also.
He's a twin, yeah. And it's same thing with him. His brother isn't really interested in doing the comedy thing. Like my brother tried it by hosting a show, and he's just like, that ain't for me. That's
No.
I'm a behind the scenes.
But
guy.
your brother never wanted to pursue stand up. He
No.
just yeah.
No, he's not a spotlight guy. He's a behind the scenes guy. He's very artistic, great
Yeah.
writer, hilarious person in person. He's hilarious, but it's a whole different thing when you get on stage on a microphone in front
Oh,
of
yeah.
people. It's just, and sometimes I don't know if you guys do this. I forget that ain't normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Remember in DC, and Elaine came out for her birthday,
Yeah.
and my wife, and I brought her on stage
Oh, yeah.
to have everyone sing her happy birthday, and it was what 400. How many? It was a full house.
Yeah, it's full.
Full house, right? And I didn't tell her I was doing that, and I said, "Stand next to the stage because I'm going to ask you to take a picture." She goes, "Okay." And at the end of my set, I go, "Hey guys, we usually sing a song because sometimes we'll do a song at the end of our sets."
Yeah.
And I go, "But I want to sing a different song tonight. Tonight I'm going to sing Happy Birthday, and I'm going to sing it to my wife." And I brought her on stage, and because I'm so used to that.
Yeah.
I'm holding her hand and literally trembling. Like,
Yeah.
And she's not even saying anything. They're just singing happy birthday to her, and the waitresses bring up a cake, and she blows out the cake. I mean, trembling.
Yeah, and then you feel bad a little
Then I
bit.
felt bad because then we get off stage, and she asked both of us in the room, she goes, "How do you guys do that?"
Yeah.
And I realized, like, this is a different thing, and I forget. So that's kind of where my brother's at with it. I don't think he's likes a lot of people staring
That-
at him, and like, yeah.
I really I feel like in off stage I feel so uncomfortable.
That's
Same.
how I am.
Same.
I is that weird? I feel like that's
I don't know.
I thought it was, but the more comics I talk to, it's common. Like
Yeah.
the hey, look at me, all 500 of you, or whatever, and then you get off stage, and that handshake with one person at a time is just,
Yeah.
and they're always they're so nice, but like
Yeah.
you always got to go, ha, yeah, ugh, it's so
Yeah.
awkward.
Well,
And also, don't touch me.
And also, I mean, Drew's, well, also just, it was interesting watching, because I opened for Drew a couple months ago in St. Louis and seeing like that meet and
rough.
greet.
oh yeah.
Seeing
yeah.
like you do an hour show and then you're there for another hour and a half doing a meet and greet with all those people.
That's good.
I love that you do that.
Yeah,
though.
it was just
Yeah.
interesting to see like how it's basically you do those are two shows.
Yeah,
And then if you
yeah.
we did 3 shows one night. So I'm looking at you like, this motherfucker just did like 6 shows basically.
And
with
you
the
do
meet and greet.
you do an hour,
Yeah, I'll do an hour.
and then the meet and greet's probably
and
an hour.
then I don't do a cut off afterwards or whatever.
Wow.
I want to say hi to. I think it matters
good.
to a lot of
It does.
people.
It's huge.
Yeah.
You know who
Yeah.
does that? Joe Coy.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, literally
Yeah.
shakes every freaking hand, takes
Yeah.
every selfie,
yeah.
and look, they keep coming back, and now he's selling out arenas.
Now
and
he's selling
shit.
out freaking
Yeah.
arenas.
And I know it matters so much, but I do remember that weekend with Will too, because like we did a lot of we think we did a lot of shows.
Yeah,
I think
we did,
we
like,
did
8.
Saturday we did like 3.
Yeah.
3
Was
meet
that
and
when you
greets.
fired him, or?
Yeah, and I just remember like coming back to the green room and like I fall, like I feel like I fall, like
Yeah.
I fall into who I am, which is
Right.
I'm not. It's not like I'm putting on an act for when I meet people. I'm genuinely happy to meet them. It's just I'm not extroverted.
Right.
That energy
Yeah.
just doesn't come naturally to me.
And that's the biggest misconception to what we
Yeah.
do, because people just assume we're extroverts.
Yeah.
Because we're doing this thing on stage, and
Yeah.
it's actually really lonely up there.
Yeah.
And they don't get that. Because we're not a band. We don't have like 4 other homies on stage.
Yeah.
It's just us
Yeah.
alone. You know what I mean? Unless me and Brent go up together and hold hands, which we
Yeah, we like to do that, some like that Dean Martin style,
Yeah,
old
yeah.
Sinatra style. After
Yeah.
I finish the show, everything's done comedy wise. We'll come up, we'll have a piano on stage, because he could sing like John Legend, and we'll just go to town and make a song up.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right. Do you you play? Yeah, that's right. You play piano and you do
guitar, piano. This
Yeah,
kid's talented.
yeah. You do.
Pisses
You
me off.
do musical comedy when you do the show too. Or no?
No, I have one thing that for my next special I can't wait to do. Like, I think it's ridiculous, and I might be too old to be doing it, but I'm gonna do that. But for the most part, I don't. I don't
Yeah.
sing. That's
We
why I
don't.
like
We
to
don't have
separate.
pre-written comedy songs.
Yeah,
we go up
we
there and
just-
just riff. We make up a song about the city that we're in.
Yeah,
That's great.
I like
Yeah.
to treat it like they used to, like Sinatra and Dean Martin. I'm very big into that old school style of being able to act, sing, dance, and be funny.
Yeah.
So I've always loved that. My grandmother did. That's why I've always like been attracted to it. And I'm like, when somebody comes to a show, I want to give them all the entertainment I could possibly give them, so they go, whoa, fuck. That's why I like having Jason with me too. And when I go on the road, because Jason's a headliner, it's not an opener, and so when he's fucking murdering, I'm like, oh no, it's like I have all this PTSD flashbacks from Gaslamp and shit, because this
Yeah.
business is so unfair,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a lot of ways. So because I had some opportunity at a certain point, I'm in a particular situation where I can bring out Jason, and there was a
Yeah.
time Jason brought me out. So it's just about, to me, none of those guys were better than the other guy. It was
Right.
their show.
Yeah.
And so I like doing that personally. But I want to get to this for a second.
Sure.
You do America's Got Talent. Mm-hmm. And then is it right after that they want you to go out and headline? Like, had you a headline before that?
I had done colleges before that,
Okay.
and colleges are 45 minutes to an
Yeah.
hour, and that was all I was doing before. I hadn't really transitioned into like the club market, and it's a whole different beast from colleges to clubs,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
and it's a different beast from featuring to headlining. The pressure on
Yeah.
it. I love the feature spot. There's just no pressure to set. There's no. You don't have
If
to
we
work.
can make the kind of money we make headlining featuring,
bro.
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, 100%. And it wasn't really a thing that I was prepared for, as far as how many people watched that
Yeah.
show.
It's
It's
insane.
only something you see after the fact, because you are performing for a lot of people when you're doing the shows.
Yeah.
But the bulk of that audience is coming from the cameras that are on
Yeah.
you.
That's crazy. When did you first feel that? When it's over and they're like, hey, so your agents are back, and so
They're sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
baby, we missed you.
Yeah, they're asking you where you've been. Where
Yeah.
you been?
Yeah, you know what? You
I
left
called.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they tell you you're gonna play a certain, like, is it a full tour? They tell you to do, like, right away. Like, did they book a bunch of stuff?
It
'Cause
was just they just lined up a bunch of club dates, and that
That's amazing.
you had no idea right away. So you go
Yeah.
into the first city where you're actually selling tickets. You're like, oh,
Yeah, and I mean, in any of the reality competition shows, you only need 15 minutes of material to really
Yeah.
get through the rounds, maybe more. But so there's been a lot of comics who I've heard from club owners that have done America's Got Talent, and they've seen only those
Yeah.
15 minutes, and then they're not able to do the
Yeah.
full time. And so they were kind of pulling back and very fearful in booking a lot of those acts, because
sense.
they don't know if that's the thing that we do. So, but fortunately, I had been doing some colleges and kind of working that muscle for that long.
and you were aware of that too, because you probably were sitting there, because already you've explained how you still don't feel like you killed, or you still didn't feel this thing, which I think is very important. What we talked earlier about, like, the guy who says, I crushed, is usually the
Yeah.
one who didn't. You
I
know?
never said it.
Yeah.
I said it one time, and then I had a show right after that didn't go good.
Oh, little
And I was
reality
like,
check?
Yeah, yeah.
It happens.
The 1-2. I used to do that. I don't know why. My brain used to be like, I'll have a good show, and
Yeah.
then I won't, and then I'll
Yeah.
have it 1-2, 1-2. I used to always think that, and then
What's
it
that
just,
like?
Oh,
Kidding.
it's
gonna throw that at me?
Inland Empire's best yet.
Yes.
Funniest comic.
Did you bring somebody with you too? Like, so now you're gonna go
Yeah.
out. Did they say, and you can bring an opener?
I always made sure I fought for that every time I went
That's great.
somewhere. Is having a friend
difference.
come with, because you know, like, I mean, yeah, actually, Will was there in St. Louis. Like I was there with my buddy Maddie, and I've been working with him for a while, and I just think because, you know, when around town, around LA, or even not, they're not necessarily being given opportunities that they deserve. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are friends and you want to see the others succeed, but it's just not a thing that a ton of people, like a ton of clubs, are open to.
And it seems to me, I don't know, that it's a little harder now to get into these clubs as regulars, the A clubs in LA.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if I hadn't gotten in when I did, I don't know how I would do it. People have asked me, how do you become a paid regular at the Comedy Store? I literally don't know.
Yeah, I've asked you that because I'm not.
I know how it happened for me, but that's a different. Like, I don't know.
Which was still, by the way, like, that was hard.
It was hard.
That took years for both of us to get past.
The guy that passed me was telling everybody that he would never pass me.
That's right.
You know, and I just
think
kept
it's
going.
always hard. I think every generation is a different type of hard, but I always think it's not an easy game. Dreams are hard.
So if you can get on the road with somebody and do those clubs, I mean, that's amazing.
But truly, I have no idea anymore at the store. But you used to give a blueprint at some point, but I don't know.
I'm curious. How did it work for you?
You got to do the open mics.
Back then, it was Sundays and Mondays.
Sunday, Mondays, and hopefully you can get on, because there's a lot of comics that are trying to get on, and then the people that work there are hosting it, and they got to wrangle everything. I always felt for them too, like, because they're working there, they have to give spots to certain friends, and they get yelled at, and and then a homeless guy gets on it, who's like just there, he's nuts, and he kills. No, I'm kidding. Cut that part. Seriously. To me, I just really quickly learned, all right, you got to do all those spots. Then they'll put you later. You go up at like 1 a.m. for the open mic stuff where like the paid regulars can go up. And then it was like, for me, I think it was years of doing that.
What year did you get passed?
Man, I don't remember.
I know I was 200013, and I think it was a year after you got.
So probably 2012, maybe.
Yeah.
I guess.
How old were you when you got passed?
33 now. So what was what would 2012 be?
26, 2027?
Yeah.
Probably around. Yeah,
it was before
I was
Undateable.
21, so I was 25. It was probably a year and change before Undateable.
Right.
So I was 25, 26.
And it was what's cool about that then, it was about going and proving yourself. And I feel like it still is that way for a lot of people, but it also now has become, if you're famous.
Yeah.
You know,
Which I also can't, when we talk about that on the road too, those clubs, at least this is what keeps me from like stressed out, is I can't blame the comedy clubs. They're a business. You gotta bring in the people that are gonna make you money to keep the doors open. So it's just I don't know. Talent, just work as hard as you can at your shit, and then hope that some of that other stuff you can't control.
Put all your
hard work
I tell people, put all your energy into what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if it's the best, people are going to take notice.
Yeah.
People are going to take notice. I think the
eventually.
mistake that people make is they concentrate on that, but they always have one eye on the other thing too. And so all your energy is not on that.
So you find it, then you're on the road, you do it, you find yourself calming down in the beginning of that road tour where you start going, oh, I can do this. I am a professional comedian now. This is my thing. Or do you find, I'm curious about this, did you feel this, and I could imagine that you would just as a comedian, and we overanalyze everything, but did you feel because it was, you got success from that in the door, as I say, from America's Got Talent, that you wanted to try to separate yourself? Like, I'm more than just this fucking America's Got Talent guy. Yeah, that's good motivation.
It becomes a thing where when people recognize you for a thing, or they'll say, hey, I watched you on this thing, it immediately, it's, I don't know, you hear that 3 times and you're like, I'm done being known for that.
Right.
It gets... You know, did it work the same with Undateable?
Yeah. If one more person calls me Baby Bird, I swear to God, I'm gonna throw up on myself. Like, I appreciate it, got me in the door. I got to be on an NBC sitcom, but when people go Baby Bird, I'm like, that's Brent Morin. And go see my. That's why I named my special I'm Brent Morin. Because I wanted to show that of me, which is good. It's motivating. You should be that way. You should want to.
D'Elia dealt with that from his that one episode of Workaholics that he did.
That's true.
We couldn't go anywhere, and people would yell out the name Topher. because he played this character on an episode of.
That was my first intro. I was like, oh, that's the when I saw him
That's
live
Topher.
when I was younger. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's the guy from Workaholics.
Wow.
People, we would, because I opened for him. I did a 32 cities or something like that with him at every show. Hey, Topher, and Chris would do that. It's actually Chris. My name's
Yeah.
Chris.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to defend your
Yeah.
the thing you've worked on, which is what we're doing. So it's good you have that, because I wonder. I mean, that's such an interesting thing for people to come out. Did you ever find after shows when you do meet and greets, people go, "You're much different than you were on the show"?
Yeah.
You get that a lot.
Yeah, that's worked in a pro and that's worked as a con.
Yeah.
Because I've had people say, "Oh wow, this was so much better than whatever you got to say on TV." I felt like it was,
Yeah.
they did. It's live and it's just not as rigid. So that's
Yeah.
something that's appreciated. And then I've had people say, this is filth, and I'm not a filthy. I'm not
Yeah.
by any means a filthy comedian or anything. But just because I said shit or I have alluded to some sex or something like that, it changes because there's something that's family friendly, and I'm fine with weeding all of that out. But it's like I said, it's very shortly after doing that one big project that got you in the door, where you're just like, all right, I want something else that can really be my body of work that speaks to something else. I think it's because you feel like they're not seeing the full depth of what it is you can do.
And what you've been sacrificing for. Because I had a lot of that. The character I play on Undateable is clean shaven, shirt tucked in, lemon drop drinking, Disney singing, lovable loser. That was what he was, and I love that character. I'm proud of that character, but that was a character I was playing. I am not that person. I like to have my drink. I got so many people after my shows in the beginning going, "I don't like Justin that you're swearing," and I go,
Calling
first
you
off,
Justin.
yeah, they would call, and I go, "It's
Jeez.
Brent," or they would yell, "Sing, sing," in the middle of my act. And in the beginning, I suffer with clinical depression and anxiety disorder and all that shit. So I'm not good with people after shows, and things could trigger that depression on the road. And in the beginning, I felt like I let somebody down. They drove out, they paid, and I let them down. And I had to come to terms with, no, man, no, that's something you played. If this person can't accept that isn't your act, like that you aren't Justin.
They could take a hike.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing in the beginning, that you start questioning, am I doing it right?
Right.
Man, should I be more like the guy from the,
Oof.
you start questioning that shit in your head, like,
Yeah.
is this going to ruin my career that
See, I didn't even know that you were having that issue sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
because
I was
it's
like,
new,
whoa.
because you don't, it'll happen to anybody. Fame and recognition is not normal. So having
I wouldn't.
people, you fucking will, but I have a feeling you're going to
The
nail
only
it,
people-
though.
the
He's
only
going to
people-
kill it.
The only name people yell out to me is my brothers. That's all I got.
No, he's going to have it. He's going to nail it. It's like we
Yeah.
always used to call him prematurely famous because he dressed so fucking famous. I thought he was famous when I met him. I thought you were a famous
That's
comedian.
hilarious. You know who else told me that? Amir K told me that one time.
Wow.
He's like, yo, when I first met you, I thought you were like this.
You huge
My
comic.
shit, I wish.
It's an aura, baby.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of that.
I think maybe the martial arts background.
Yeah,
Maybe
It's
maybe.
confident.
Yeah,
Because
it is
I
confidence.
can handle myself. Things slow down for me. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's not for me. But so now you find that so in the beginning you had some of that. I'm always curious if somebody had some of that.
Yeah.
Doing something that isn't really representing exactly who you are.
Yeah, and there's just this huge fall off. Like
Yeah.
there's just a fall off. When it doesn't happen, then it's like you have to be so secure in what it is that you do or who you are that kind of stuff doesn't shake you. And for me, it definitely did, because there's no amount of of experience that you get pre-exposed to
Right.
that can prepare you for an experience like that,
Yeah.
or an experience like where you have like maybe a show on the air, or you have like a special that just dropped and it happened, and then you kind of, I don't want to say fall out of relevancy, but then it becomes what do you do after the fact?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just, I think that comes from what we do singularly. Yeah.
And have you found that now you go on the road, you felt a little bit of a dip after AGT, and then you're coming back though, and it went back up a little bit? Or something?
Yeah. I started doing a lot of videos and putting out a lot of like stand up and on like online and stuff like that. And to be in control, I guess, of your own content is I think maybe something that's just changed everything. It's just changed everything as far as even the way that people consume their content anywhere. And
Yeah, that's the stuff that I had to really get used to. All that content and social media and all that stuff. It's just like
It's a different world now. It's not the same thing.
And
you know?
like even like something like this. Like I'm sure we enjoy doing the podcast, but it's another thing that you have to be doing. It used to just be. It used to just be that we could focus just on our art, and that was so fulfilling because it was just like, oh, that's it. I can just nail this one thing. And now it's like however many other projects you have going at one time, you're balancing all of it.
I mean, I've had panic attacks at home alone because of it.
Yep.
Because when we started stand up, we kind of had MySpace, but you didn't need it. Like it wasn't that kind of a thing, and now all of a sudden it's just whoa.
Yeah, and Drew,
all these things.
and Drew, you just started a podcast, right?
Yeah.
What's your
we're
podcast
gonna make sure
called?
you
It's
promote all that.
It's called Did I Stutter? I just started.
I love it.
Yeah, and
yes, you did.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's it. I just wanted to know. I'm 6 episodes in, and I
just wanted to know.
haven't decided. It's a murder mystery. You binge it.
You binge it.
So you know, it's just like you almost have to become more of an entrepreneur and less of a comic, which I think it's stretching everyone to hopefully be, I don't know, to try to be better, but it's also pulling me sometimes in a direction that's like, but I just love stand up though.
Yeah. And I find that I'm better about it now, but I would get like old man grouchy about it. Like, I don't need that. This is what I do. I don't need it.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't mean it. And I was wrong. I was 100% wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that way about like shit like TikTok.
Ugh,
Like
I don't even.
What the hell?
Somebody
is
told me you gotta have a TikTok.
You gotta have
I'm
a
like,
TikTok.
do I?
I was like, yeah, I feel old saying like
I didn't know what it
won't.
was. I just kept seeing it on my feed.
I
go, what is this
I know
TikTok
what it
shit?
is, but I still don't know what they're doing. Are they just like lip syncing to things? I
I
don't.
have no idea.
It's like a version
And
of
that-
Vine.
I don't know what
Oh,
it
we're
is. It's the version
so
of
out.
It's like a version of like Vine, kind of. It's like a more up to date, like ADD version of Vine.
Well,
It's
help
just-
us, Will.
I was told.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, you're the kid here.
I got lions to get.
I know.
TikTok, flip flop. How about that?
Yo, new idea, dude. Flip flop.
We'll flip flop to TikTok.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys. We're coming for you. They're probably controlling my house.
Trademark flip flop.
Canceled.
They get us banned. I don't trust any.
Did I-
That's the thing too. These. No offense, Will, but these guys, these dorks,
Kids.
are the new bullies of the goddamn world right
yeah.
now.
It's-
I'm less scared of a jock than I am of these people online that could ruin my whole life with a hashtag.
Well, cancel.
Hashtag killing lions. I don't kill lions.
my
Everything's
God.
fucked.
That's,
You know those lions on his wall are real. He killed them. Whoa.
Wait a minute.
I also think like that's something that's changed. Road clubs too is now on even off nights or even on weekends. People who are predominantly content creators
Yeah.
and not so much comics
Yeah.
are now taking a lot of slots of like.
Oh yeah, it's true.
I see when I get out there, I see like some comic coming this week. I'm like, I've never heard of it. So I ask, who is it? He goes, oh, he's a big YouTube guy. I'm like, oh, okay.
And they gotta make
then
their money.
How many, when we were doing the road, how many club owners and bookers were telling us, you got to do a podcast?
Yeah.
Everybody, you got to
is.
do a
Do it.
podcast. You got to do a podcast.
I know.
We should do one.
We should
Oh,
do
yeah.
one.
We should do a podcast.
Yeah, because we just do this so that we could auto-tune shit later.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this has nothing to do.
Yeah,
with
I'm not recording anything.
What if I would be so mad?
Oh.
Everything's in the pool.
Everything's in the pool. That's his thing. Whenever
Me,
Brent's
I'm in the
upset,
pool.
he's like, I'm throwing it in the pool.
All the shit's in the pool. If this thing dips, nothing works. It'll all be in the pool. I'm done with it. We'll start over. Figure it out. I don't know.
What do you got, a weekly thing? You release an episode weekly on your
Yeah.
podcast? When does it come out?
I just do it on Tuesdays.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's just it's like low stakes. I mean, I wanted to do something that I don't know, that it's just whatever. Sometimes you pull stuff that you write, and you want to do it there and work it there. I mean, it's kind of been. I mean, it's kind of cool because like people like people like Theo and stuff like that. Like their podcast is huge and they're
Yeah,
getting
that's
big, so big from it. So I don't know. It's just
Yeah, you gotta do
it. Yeah, you just do it.
And it's a different thing, too. Now, people literally just want to hear us talking.
Yeah.
I've had people say, yo, when you do your Instagram stories, you got to look at the camera and talk to the camera more often.
Yeah,
I'm like,
know.
well,
I'll never understand
and
that.
they
I
want
hate
us.
my
They just
face.
want to. They want to feel like they're hanging out with us.
Is it you that has the joke where you're just like, "Hey guys," where someone
Yeah.
someone says like, "Hey guys," I love that.
Yeah. If I hear
much.
one more Insta story that starts with "Hey guys,"
Your joke
you know.
has changed the way I do Instagram stories because I can't say "Hey guys." I've done first drafts of it where I go, "Hey guys," so ooh.
I had
ooh.
a girl tagged me in her story the other day, and she said, "Hey everybody." I was gonna say "Hey guys," but Jason Collings would have made fun of me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad.
Well, I wanted to ask, what are we at time wise?
We're a little over an hour.
Okay.
We're about
I wanna-
almost an hour.
I wanted to ask you lastly about your dog.
Yeah.
It's Lexi, right?
Stella.
Nope.
But yeah.
Good try
Went
though.
over it before.
Start
all right.
again.
All
Cut
right.
that
Sorry,
part.
let's go to-
All right.
Okay.
Action.
Oh yeah, that's what just action. Okay. Wait, no, this is Dateline. Here we go.
Got it.
So,
Don't do the mouth noise.
are you kidding? They're all old interviewers. They all have dry
Oh,
mouths.
I hate that.
So,
Oh.
so during this journey through your life, there has been one person, not a person. Fuck. Take two.
All right. Getting worse.
It's a lot, man.
During this
Worst ASMR ever.
ASMR.
during this journey.
Is this joke worth it, Brent?
No, but to be honest, I've committed. During this journey of this life we call life, you have had a companion, Stella.
Mouth.
Tell us about Stella.
Oh man, that's so. Just, that's the worst way to say.
I'm learning how to do this. I don't know.
You know when you go do press. You know when you go do press on the road and they set you up that way. It's the
Oh,
worst.
it's the worst. They scare
Yeah.
me though.
What do you
'cause
want
I
me
don't
to
think
tell
they're
you?
Right.
Her zodiac? I don't know.
But do you find that has Stella been like, I want a dog again? We discussed the panda dog, but do you find
What kind of dog is Stella?
Stella's a Vizsla, a breed from Hungary.
Wow, that's a cool name. You should have named it Vizsla.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Well, you're gonna have a panda. You're gonna have a panda dog named Panda.
Yeah.
Yeah, panda.
I have a Vizsla named Lexi or whatever. Take you.
All right, we'll cut this part out.
All right,
so
You know,
yes.
I was pulling. Well, definitely don't say yeah that
Sorry.
way. You don't get to be involved in that part of it, okay?
Where were you going with this? Like, were you going to ask me?
I don't know. I was trying to do research because I
Okay.
don't know him that well.
Well, now
So
you
I was
do.
actually doing
We
my
spoke for an
research.
hour. He
I
not
know.
once brought up his dog.
I know. Well, how the hell do I know? I do my research, but I'm not sitting here with the books in the library. I just was doing my shit, and I was like, well, maybe I'll ask him about Stella. And I
That's
kept saying
hilarious.
fucking Lexi.
What if you
Will
asked Stella? You're, hey, I got a dog. What do you want?
Yeah, like, actually, I don't want to talk about that. He just snaps at me. I don't fucking know. Fine, I won't do research anymore. I was just trying to figure shit out. Jesus Christ.
I did. I used to do a show with her called Dog Vlog, and basically it's super YouTubey, and it makes me look very like young. But for me, it was a way that I could like write jokes in a format that I still thought was visually appealing. People
Yeah.
love dogs. People love
Right.
like pets and shit. So it was like just literally sitting on a couch, and she sits like perfectly still, and I had taught myself how to edit, and I would just I don't know, just like on the road and experiences like that, I would talk, and she sits perfectly still, so she has like little captions above her head that
Oh, that's
again
great.
helps like the visual aspect of it. And for me, that was like a nice way of doing like this. She would be like the straight man, and I would get to be silly and
Oh,
do
that's
kind of
great.
shit like that. So it's young, but I also thought it was a nice way to still introduce content to a way that to people, and do it in a little bit interest, like a little bit on its ear. So it wasn't
Outside of
just so-
stand-up.
Yeah, that's great.
Exactly.
So yes, we got that.
We got there.
It's just I did research. I did more research for this than I've ever done homework. So just you know, I was just trying.
And the research is before he's like, what's his dog's name? Lexi? He said, nope.
My answer
I
was
don't
so
know why
like research.
Lexi was in my head, and I knew it. I was like, "Fuck, Brent." Will just told you before the
Lexi.
podcast.
my,
Whatever.
My answer was so much shorter than your
I
than
know.
your setup.
I couldn't. Look, I'm really learning. For everybody at home, I'm trying to figure this. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we're
get
new.
So, I'm
We're
gonna get
new at
so
this.
good at this.
I will say also the fan base that Stella has
Oh yeah,
is like bigger than all of us. Like this dog is like they take pictures with the dog on the road. I mean, it's like
That's
amazing.
probably
Does
why
Stella
you're
have
so
her
pissed
own,
to talk about Stella.
She has her own
Stella's-
Instagram page, or
No, I don't do that because I didn't want. That's
Stella's
when it
taking over.
starts getting weird. 'Cause
Right.
Then you
Yeah.
start having to do first person captions as though you're the dog,
Yeah, that's weird.
and you're
then
you're
you
a sociopath.
then you lose your mind.
You're
You're
just
nuts.
like, hey, I'm doing this today, and it's your dog. No,
Yeah, that's weird.
that's right.
All right, so thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank
you. What's the name of your podcast again so people can find it?
Did I stutter?
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And your Instagram, you're on Instagram.
Yeah, the Drew Lynch.
Nice.
And you have a tour coming up?
Yeah, I'm doing next year will be a lot of like out of the country dates, which will be cool. I mean, we talked a little bit about that. So it's fun, I guess,
awesome.
to do
It is.
stuff like
It's
that.
interesting to see people that like you from a different place, like not America.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have that feeling. I was like,
They know me.
you guys get this?
It's weird, man.
Yeah.
And I actually find that people out of the country, like, they're not so sensitive to stuff.
Exactly.
I performed
Yeah.
in London the past 2 years, and they love that it is unencumbered, and it doesn't.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you started doing some theaters too, right?
Yeah. Next year we'll do, which I like the reps of doing clubs. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
But theaters make you feel fancy.
great.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's
Well,
good.
congratulations
Thanks,
on all
guys.
that.
Congrats,
And
man.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, I think
You're one of my
guys-
faves.
Thanks.
Yeah,
you
you're
guys
great.
too, man.
You're one of my
Thank
new
you.
faves. Well, because this is
Yeah,
the first
you-
time we're really meeting and talking, so it was great.
Thanks, man.
What if you said, say hi to Alexa?
Say hi to
Actually, Jason.
Say hi to Lexi, man. Just
Thanks,
such a
bud.
narcissist. I don't remember anything. All right, see you later, Alan.
Thanks,
Fucking